Howdy, howdy, howdy. Can everybody hear me? Do, 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 do. Rick Barnett, Jason Collins, Mountain Music. He was here and gone, I think. Norman Keys says there's 9 people in here. Can you hear me? I need to know if you can hear me. Somebody post. Do, do, do. Oh, cool. Thanks, Jason. The man from the north, the lion hunter. Okay. I did the live last Sunday and told everybody I was going to try to figure out how to do this drawing. And what I did is I found this random, I don't know what you call it, name picker, name thing. And I got all the guys who contributed to me. Let me get rid of this thing right here. That thing's bothering me. Hold on. There, get rid of that thing. Anyway, so I've got everybody's name that has contributed to the channel members, my Patreon supporters, the guys who've supported the channel through PayPal, and I'm getting emails, and also some of the guys that had just like Cody King sent me a super chat on a live show like this, and then other guys that had contributed through. One guy sent me gas cards and stuff to get up and down the road, which was really nice. So I hope I've got everybody's name in here. And then what I did is my wife did it all in a Word file, and then can't hear a word, nothing at all, Brett. Uh-oh. Loud and clear. Yep. Yes, we got you. Norman, how come you can't hear me? Can everybody else hear me? I got to put this up there. Can't hear a word, nothing at all, Brett. Somebody else. Jason Collins says copy. Yes, we got you. Richard Pearson. Rachel Kokove. Did I pronounce that right? Says, yep. Norman, let me know what's going on. I think I got my mic set right. Yes, still can. Oh, okay. BB says, yes, still can. Turn your volume up, Norman. Anyway, so everybody who's contributed to the channel, his name is on here. Then I copy and pasted it, and I put it in this online random name picker. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick, I got 5 books. I did this last week. These are some of my favorite books. Let me get rid of that. Meet Mr. Grizzly. Whoa, here we go. Meet Mr. Grizzly. Absolute favorite. Trained by a Hound Dog. Advance. Really good read. Dan Johnson's The Houndsman. Good read. Mike Martell donated this book, Bobcat Dog, by David Pigtall. And then, of course, Brave by Steve Mathis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the button. It'll spin around. We'll pick one name out, and that'll be the first winner, and they have the choice of any one of these books. And then the second name, I'll spin it again, and they'll have the choice of whatever's left. Third, fourth, and fifth, because there's 5 books, right? Yep. And if they're not on the live stream, they can still win, but they have to send me an email. I mean, everybody has to send me an email. So the first choice has a week to get an email to tell me which book they want. So let's see. Hey, Brett, you should listen to Sturgill Simpson's new album, The Ballad of Dude Juanita. I think you would like it. Yes, I will. Anyway, phone was off. Norman Key. That'll screw it up every time, Norman. Anyway, so I want, because there's a lot of them that are eligible, for a book, but they're not going to be on the live stream. For whatever, it's kind of hard to get everybody here at the same time. But I still want it to be, whoever wins it has a week or so, and then if nobody claims it, then we'll do it again. So I'm new to this. I've never done this before, so I hope it all works out right. All I want to do is make sure it's fair, and that and it's just something, these guys have been helping me and donating to the channel, and what I do and what we do is kind of a small niche, so this really helps. It's not like I'm going to be one of these big YouTubers or something that has million subscribers. So and I really appreciate it. So let's see if we can make this happen. I am going to get rid of me. Let me see if I get rid of me. Can you guys still hear me? I have to show myself. Okay. Blue Dog's here. Greetings, Blue Dog. Okay, so when I oh, I think I know how to do it. Let me see. No. All right, well, I just wanted to make this as big as possible so everybody could see. But anyway, we'll do it just the way it is here. And maybe I can get it. There, that's better. That's bigger. Cool. All right. So this spin is for the first winner. Let me see if I can get. Oh, I got it right here. Like I said, they need this. They're going to have to send me an email, and I'll leave this video up on my YouTube channel. Yeah, most of my lives, I take down after a little while because they're not edited or anything. They're only good for that amount of time, while it was live, really. Uh-oh. What did I do now? Testing. It says you can hear. I can hear. That's odd. Wow, what's going on? I'm going to get a better streaming software. I don't think this one's. Testing. Huh. It says it's working. I can hear. That's odd. I can hear. Huh. Okay. So let's go ahead and do this. There's 16 people here. Make sure you can hear me. I'm going to push the button. I'm going to select the first winner. That little deal is going to spin around just like a, what do you call it? That thing they play in Vegas. And then it'll stop on somebody's name and it'll tell us who won. So here you go. That's pretty cool. Willam R. Griffiths. Let me write that down. William's not here. I can hear. Yeah, we can hear. Roulette wheel. There you go, Rick. You can tell I did spend a little bit of time in Vegas when I roped. I used to go there and rope in the World Series, a team roping every year. All right, here we go. This is number one. Let me write this down. Number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. And if I don't hear from them within a week, we'll do this again. All right. John McCall. Number 2 winner. I hope this meets with all the rules they have on YouTube for giving stuff away. Faceman 96. I got to answer a question here. Well, I can't do it now. Okay. Faceman, I'll get to you here in just a minute. Okay, for the number 3 hole. It's like Wheel of Fortune is what it's like. Almost Josh. Adan Rescate. Is that how you pronounce that? Number 3. Okay. Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. I'm forgetting to remove those names from the wheel. Oh well. Okay, for number 4. Come on, Rob. Yeah, Rob. All right. Rob Pierpoint. Number 4. Okay, for the last one, for the number 5 hole. Eugene Ness, my buddy. Eugene's a guy I went to high school with, and I went to almost like a class reunion. They called it our 60th birthday party, because we're all turning 60 this year. And he found my YouTube channel, so he started watching it, and then he became a member. That's cool. Guys, I'm sorry for the ones who didn't win, but if none of these guys get me, then we'll do it again until I get rid of these books. So, okay, the first winner is Willam R. Griffiths. Second is John McCall. Third is Adan Rescate. I hope I pronounced that right. The fourth is Rob Pierpoint, and number 5 is Eugene Ness. We will, like I said, we'll do it again. And then, you know, anybody wants to join the channel or go over and to my Patreon, I can put a link to that, I think. Let's get rid of this. Let's see if we can find a Patreon. And I will share this. I didn't really, how can I say it? I kind of got upset with Patreon. Because they, I just don't like some of their policies. But then, so I switched over to use the YouTube, you know, deal. And the problem I have with YouTube is that it's kind of hard. Like with Patreon, if somebody joins, they send me a notification. If somebody leaves, they send me a notification. And when they join on Patreon, then I can see their email address right away. And with YouTube, I haven't figured out how to do that yet. So let me give you the link. Thanks, Rick. Melissa, hi. Melissa, let's see. Hi, I'm Melissa. We watch you all the time. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And then let's see. Thanks, Jack. Okay, I'm going to answer this one here. What is the biggest difference between horses and mules in your opinion? Just generally, the mules are just so much tougher. And they, you know, of course, sure-footedness is something that's more prevalent in mules than horses, but I've rode some horses that were pretty sure-footed too. I always say, and I said this on the last live, is I believe that mules can withstand what I call benign neglect. You can neglect them a little bit more than a horse, and it doesn't bother them. You know, and when I say neglect, I don't mean just treating them bad. I mean, they don't need as high a quality. They'll thrive on lower quality feed. When you're out and about, man, you know, they can graze and stay pretty, you know, in pretty good shape just on low quality grass or whatever. And tougher feet, you know, I said me and a buddy, he's got some really, really nice horses, and we packed into the wilderness several times, and always seems like the first night he has 1 or 2 horses that colic. I've never had a mule colic like that. And, you know, riding 15, 20 miles in the wilderness, you know, in rough, steep country. So there you go. It's just, they're just overall tougher, you know. And now if I was riding easier country, or if I was just trail riding and, you know, pretty decent trails, I think you know, and I like my mules, don't get me wrong, but I like a good horse too. I mean, I like a horse that'll sit on his hind end and turn around, and they're just a lot more responsive. The ones I rode, maybe never rode. I've seen videos of mules that were responsive like horses were too, but a mule's kind of, I always tell everybody, a good thing about a mule is they think on their own. And the bad thing about a mule is they think on their own. So a lot of times they're just as handy and good as they want to be until they start thinking about something else. And then that's where the stubbornness, I think, comes in. So, and the way a mule moves, you know, if you get into a jam, a lot of times, you know, if a horse stumbles and falls down, he's going to fight it. He's going to grab his butt and fight it and panic, more or less, trying to get back up. And he can tear half the mountain down trying to get back to his feet. And if a mule gets in a jam like that and falls down or loses their footing, they just go to their knees and they just sit there. They don't panic. They don't fight it. They're going to think about it for a minute and then get up and I'm being real general. I'm sure there's mules that something else I think is you get a good mule. There's outlaw mules, and from everything I've heard is, an outlaw mule can cause lots and lots of problems and hurt you. That's Blue Dog says, yeah, that's a fact. Blue Dogs, the problem with mules is they're too smart, and that's a fact. I mean, they're smart, but I do believe, like my old mule Jet Johnson, and I'm not one of these fluffy type, guys that thinks this mule is going to be my best buddy and this and that, but me and Jet we put on a lot of miles together in rough country by ourselves, and he really did become almost like a dog to me. He'd follow me around like a dog. I'd throw the reins over his neck and take off walking, and if it got rough, or I got a video somewhere of us going up the side of a little old narrow slot canyon that has a creek running down it, and that creek was froze over, and you had to be real careful because in some places it would hold you up, it would hold the mule up, but some places he'd break through. So it's kind of dangerous, not dangerous, but they could fall down, or they could hurt themselves or hurt you. You could break an ankle or something, I guess. But I just get off of him, and in that video you can see I'm just walking up that frozen creek bottom, and you can see him walking real gingerly, crossing the ice, and some places he'd break through, but he's just following me like a dog. Frank Doris, hey Frank, you were in the drawing, but you didn't win anything. Sorry about that. But like I said, if these guys don't send me an email, I need to post my email here. Hold on. And I will leave this video up, and I will have my email in the description down below. Also, if you get on my channel, you can go to my email, and it's over on the side there. Let's see if I can do this right here. Wallaby. Oh, there it is. There it is. Sorry, guys. I'm a little slow at this. Okay, here's my channel page. And if you look right here, there's a join button. That's how you become a member of the channel. And then if you go all the way over here to About, and you click About, it's got like a description of what it just, I like being out and seeing the country and following the hounds while they cold trail in mostly roadless country. I know when I get to blah, 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 it's just, and then you can click on view email address, and then that's my email address right there. And I will copy email address and post it right here. So it'll be in the chat, and then it'll also be, I'll put it in the description down below. Let's see who we got here. No problem. Mules are too smart. Yes, sir. Frank Doris there. I already did that one. John Sumrall. Did I pronounce that right, John? How are you? Sumrall. 22 people. All right. Any questions? Anything else? Like I said, it was Brave, Bobcat Dog, the Houndsman by Van Johnson, Trained by a Hound Dog, Ed Vance, and Meet Mr. Grizzly. Man, this is a good book. I mean, talks about trail. Let me just, for those of y'all who haven't, I should buy another one of these and give it away. Let's see. I'm ready for Nevada again, Brett. We need to finish what we started. Maybe we'll catch something. Yes, sir, Frank. I'm looking forward to it. I got to get, like I tell everybody, I got a plan. The plan comes. That's what I've been in Colorado all week, working on my plan. So it comes through. There'll be a lot of hunting in Nevada. Okay. This is a good book. This is, this guy came from England, and he trained bloodhounds, but he ran grizzly bears with bloodhounds. I don't know how you guys, how many of you guys have read Mr. Grizzly? Super book. I mean, these are some of the chapters. Welcome to the first campfire side chat concerning bear hunters. General Miles hunts with me the first time. 5 hunts among many misses. Grizzly number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. 2 near hits for the glory that's in it. Sleuth, man trailing in snow, fighting dogs, slow trail or license dogs, bronco busting, Pete the outlaw mule, burrow busting, dog stealing, bear hunting guests. The self-invited guest will all be trailing lost sheep. The lava cold trail, grizzlies, a close-up. Susie, queen of the spoilt grizzlies. The Jewett Gap grizzly. I've been in that Jewett Gap. Mementos, my last hunt. It's a good book. So, most everybody's read it? No? Rachel said, me? Cool. Frank and I took our mules and rode up in Nevada, up in the up there by the Jawbridge Wilderness. We plan on going again. Supposed to go up there and snow hunt this winter, Frank, but I don't think we're gonna ride mules. I think we're just gonna take a buggy. Rosie is doing great. I have a lot of hard miles on her already. Let me show that. Frank, he bought he bought Rosie from me, and I'm glad she's doing good. Cool. Let's see, Blue Dog. I'm trying to breed a female, and he's in what? I'm trying to breed a female, and he's in left field instead of center field. I'm not sure what that means. I have bred him twice before. Not much of a problem. This time he seems lost. Any tips? You mean he just can't get it done? I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you about that. Harry Mills, would you ever consider putting some bloodhound back into your dogs? Yes. One of the biggest things about the bloodhounds, they say, is that they don't move a track real fast, and that they don't tree. But they say if you get a good one, you got something special. Now, a lot of these dogs, that there was a female bloodhound, I can't remember her name, but a lot of our dogs all go back to her. About these desert dogs, these desert dry ground lion hounds go back to that old Jim Farmer knows her name, and shoot, I can't remember the dog's name. But they say she was like an outlier. She was a freak. She could just move a track and tree and everything. You could get her shed pony, you get a lion hound. She was just a good dog. Let's see. Are any of your English dogs registered or grade dogs? If registered, what bloodlines do they go back to? None of them are registered. Sissy, my white dog, and I'll be making a video about her. I had her in the vet. She had a calcium deposit in her urinary tract that was as big as a golf ball, and I had it removed. She's about 11 years old. But anyway, she's out of a dog I had called Missy. And then I had Missy's half brother, I guess it was called, I called him Hoover, Super Hoover. And they were both, Super Hoover's daddy was a registered hard time bred English dog. And out of a laser bitch that those guys up north had, and they called them laser hounds, but originally they had a lot of bloodhound in them, and they came from the Lee brothers down south. And Hoover was probably the best dog that I had that I really didn't know I had at that time. If he had been with somebody who was more experienced than me, he would have been a super dog. He was a real slow starter. He didn't want to start right away, but like I always told everybody, man, he would bite a bear in the butt. You could tree a bear one day, and then he would slow down and cold trail on a lion track the next day. And really good nose, really moved a track good. Wasn't babbly. Only barked when he had it and looked for it, and didn't bark until he found it again. Sit on his butt, tree dog. If you oh shoot, I got an old video of it. I think I called it JR Day Hunt or something like that. I might have changed the name. Two bears one day, because we treated 2 bears with him in one day. Oh yeah, I can't find it. But anyway, when I had him, I caught some bears, and then after he got into some poison and died, and when I lost him, I didn't have any bear dogs. A lot to be learned from meeting Mr. Grizzly on a lot of subjects, not just hunting and dogs. No kidding. That guy was like way ahead of his time. And what's strange about him is I got a newspaper article. He went bankrupt. He went broke. Typical houndsman. He probably didn't pay attention to business and just hunted all the time. Watch this. Tammy? 30 guys in here. Pretty cool. 12 thumbs up. Crush that like button, they say. Any more questions? Well, almost been an hour, but I let this thing run for a while with just the banner saying that I forgot I was out of town. It's not that I forgot really, but I was out of town and I didn't get to put up a notification that we were going to go live tonight. But I had mentioned it in the last live stream. See if Mrs. Bourne hears me. Frank says, let's see. I will, Frank. I might be in the market for another one too. Old Jet Johnson, we figured out he's and I got the Ruth, the other mule, and I pack her. But old Jet, he's 20 something years old now. 27, I think, is what we figured. Ever thought about going to talk to some of the big game guys on the East Coast? Yeah, I love to talk to all of them. It's getting there that's the problem. I kind of got everybody taken care of within, a day's drive around here. And I'm sure there's more that I just don't know about. But it's been hard to get away and just get away and did you get my here I am confused. I get to read in the chat and I forget it's just been hard for me to get away. But like I keep telling everybody, I got a plan and hopefully that'll work out. And then when it does, I'll be able to go and do kind of like what I like to do. Cause I love to talk to those old guys, that's what I started doing that back. I made videos, David Heiss and Tommy White and Don Milton. I did those way before any of these hound podcasts came out because I enjoyed talking to those guys. And when Bruce Kennedy put out all those Warriors of El Gato videos, man, I went over there and sat with Bruce and talked to him and bought him right away. Good morning. Okay, hold on. I'm getting behind. Let's see. Blue Dog. Those hard time dogs are noted to be hard tree dog here in the Eastern coon hunting world. He was a sit on his butt. He didn't stand on the wood. He sat on his butt and treed and just chop, 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 chop. He was a nice dog. I really liked him. Easy to be around. Had a big old spayed out foot. I'm talking about Super Hoover. He had a big old sprayed out foot that, you would have thought that would have got sore footed, but man, he had tough pads. He didn't get sore footed, real pleasant to be around, just an easy dog. I didn't. Did you get my question? No, I didn't. I'll look for it. It didn't come through. Right. Type it out again. Instead of bloodhound, might a black and tan work for you? Yeah. I mean, a buddy of mine went down to San Antonio, and this is Robert Pino. He went down to San Antonio and he's bought a couple black and tans from a man down there as a coon hunter. And they took, of course, Robert, he's busy raising kids and he's a hard worker. He's got a really good job and he has to stay busy working a lot. So he didn't really get the ones that he got out a whole lot. And but he got one to a really good hunter up north, guy who catches a lot of lions and is a good lion hunter. And I ran into him at a love service station up there the other day. He stopped and talked to me. And he said that one of those pups out of that black and tan dogs really, really started cranking and made a really good dry ground lion hound. But it took her a while. And I think that's a lot of, here's an opinion. That's a problem with a lot of the younger guys nowadays. They hear these stories about these dogs that are starting really, really fast. And you can come on in. No, you won't be on camera if you stay. My wife won't. I can't reach that, Tammy. My wife, she's scared of cameras. Where was I? Oh, and then in this dry ground, man, you got to give these dogs a long time to start. And I remember years ago, Henry McIntyre was going to give me a White Cloud Walker. And he said, here, you can take that dog. And me, just being a dumb kid, I asked him, I said, what? I said, well, what is he doing? And you'd had to known Henry. He just looked at me and said, well, he ain't doing nothing. Yeah, but he's not doing nothing wrong either. And that's kind of why Hoover was. He wasn't even ever trashy. The only thing he ever tried to trash on was a javelina. And but boy, when he discovered bears and he discovered lion scent, he was a big game hound. Let's see, Cameron Coleman, we're on. Good morning from Australia. Good morning, down under. Man, there's some, you guys hunt hogs down there. It looks like a lot of fun. When are you going to have some pups available? I don't know. I had 2 litters of pups this year, and that was one more litter than I wanted. It's just hard in the, problem with here. Now, if I had a real nice facility, if I had like an indoor climate controlled kennel, then you could have some pups in the summertime when you can't go out and hunt. So any female that you have that's worth breeding, you don't want to breed during the summer. It's just so hot that it's miserable. So for the dogs and for the puppies, and then any female that's worth breeding, you don't want her to be out of commission during the hunting season. So, and I'm not big on raising pups and selling them. Maybe one of these days when I get real old. When your hounds are on, do you always know the difference between, good question. When your hounds are on, do you always know the difference between Bob and Lion? Been watching a lot from England, but hearing, it didn't all show up. Let's see, but hearing, been a lot from England, but hearing the hounds live and on film are different. I know a lot of guys can tell the difference. And I can't. Sometimes I pretend I can, but I can't. I think I trail a lot of bobcats that I probably should just be walking by. Because, you trail them and you trail up a little ravine, you trail out the side, and then you get in a bad spot, and then you can't move the track anymore. Not like the guys down in Texas and places where there's a lot of brush and the scent holds a lot better. And those guys can get on a hot track, and then when that bobcat starts moving through that brush, he's leaving more scent, brushing up against stuff, and those dogs can lift their head up and run that scent channel. Here, you just can't. The scent just doesn't hold, so you can't really run bobcats. So you waste a lot of time messing around with them. Then if you get on a good enough track and they can trail it up, usually that bobcat goes to one of these big rock piles we have, and then you got to, he's hidden down in that rock pile and you can't get to him anyway. It's fun trailing them. I mean, I know I trail them, and I know I trail foxes too, but yeah, but, and I say that, but typically when you're on a lion and you've been on a lion for a while, you can tell. I mean, just where the lion's moving, how, where it's going and how your dogs are trailing. But Rowdy Houndsman tuning in from Nevada. All right. I've told you before, but I appreciate what you're doing for lion hunting, Brett. I'm still new to it, and I'm learning a ton from you in the interviews you're doing. Thanks, Rowdy. Like I've said before, it might not be, you might not know what to do, but watching my videos, you might learn what not to do. So, but now I got, if everything works out the way it's planned, this year should be a good year. I got my dogs all trailing good. I got some older dogs that are, I'll knock on this wooden desk, that are pretty much broke. And I think if I get in some better country where there are more lions, I think I can get stuff done this winter. I hope. Although I like to trail, and I just like to be out, really. I like to ride the mule, be out in the wild country. I had somebody ask me, I can't remember. That's another problem. I get a lot of messages through Instagram. I'll get them through email. I'll get them through Facebook. And then I get some messages on my phone, and I have a hard time replying to some of them. And I had a guy send me a message on one platform, and I can't remember, asking me if I was going to run bears this year. And I always hate to. And now I got some dogs that'll run bears. And I'm sure those terrorists will run bears. And Booger will run bears. And Booger will rig a bear. And Dan the man, he's down in Texas running bobcats, and he'll run bears too. Or he did when he left. He might not run anything but a bobcat now. Cody King's had him on about 30 something bobcats, and he said he's doing pretty good. Not as fast as his running dogs, but not too far behind. Colder nose than some of his dogs, but just about the same as his good dogs, I guess is what you'd say. So Tammy, I can't reach that coffee. This is good. My broke dog had a good whitetail chase yesterday. Yep, that's what happens when you start talking about having a broke dog. And this is what happens to me every year. Just it seems like in the fall, we go out. We've been kind of, I get them out and I go back here behind my place and I get to exercise them and I try to get them out, 3 times a week. And we usually always have a coyote race. Eventually, we're going to have a coyote race. And it just seems like it's something that happens every year. They just decide to run a coyote. Carson Tate, hello. Mornings are getting cooler. Starting to get excited. Let's see. Starting to get excited to get out. Hope you and Tammy are doing well. Happy trails. Thanks, Carson. Appreciate it. I hope you guys are doing well, too. Let me know how you do this year. Anybody else? Let me see. I don't know if my wife. See if she's in the other room watching the live. Harry Mill. You should up, you might follow. She's scared to get on camera. Although, if she just bring it to right here, she won't be on camera. Oh, we've been over an hour, guys. Any more questions? Anything you guys like to see in future videos this coming winter? Anything you besides a lion in a tree or on a rock? We don't have a lot of, if it's down in the desert, we don't have a lot of trees. Probably be on a rock like the last ones. Even up there in that country, that last tom we caught, he ran right by a lot of really, really good trees to climb, and he didn't climb it. He just ended up out on a ledge. And you get them out on a ledge or you get them out on that, on the ground in that rock, you don't have a lot of time to get good video or take good pictures or anything, because it gets kind of dangerous for the dogs. HP sent in if you see through this chat, or like I said, I'll put in the description when this thing saves to my channel, my email address. Send me your email address so I'll have it on file in case I do have some pups. Right, Mel, you shouldn't play. Okay, I tried sending it again. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe you're saying something that's not acceptable or something. I don't know why it wouldn't go through. I don't know what the filters are on this thing. I don't know how it works. Tell you the truth. Lucky I can just get on. Any progress on Warner Glenn interview? No, I haven't. W Supply was supposed to set something up. I haven't heard from them. Haven't heard back from them yet. I was kind of shot down by Steve Smith. I don't know about those Arizona Houndsmen. They don't want to talk to me for some reason. But of course, you know, Larry, he kind of shot me down too. I think he's in bad shape if he's still with us. And I don't know, still working on it. I've got there's another podcast that Warner Glenn did. I've got it somewhere. Carson, I've got your email. I'll try to send it to you. There's a guy up north that interviewed him, and I can't remember. It was a non-hunting or a non-houndsman podcast. I don't know who it was. Mike Leonard, let's see, Labor Gang. Mike Leonard had an interesting post this week about the dogs at Charlie Tan. Know if your dog's got any of that blood or any or your dog's got any of that blood. This thing's going through. You know if your dog's got any of that blood or any of the other legendary old houndsmen. I'm sure they all go back to some of you know, the Lee brothers in certain, you know, way on back. Most of them, you know, they've been traded around back and forth in this area. And I tell you what, I found out that kind of surprised me is I had a dog named Lily and a dog named Bo, and my dogs go back to Lily and Bo, and they go back to a dog named Pete and a dog named Repeat. And those dogs are out of Van Johnson's old blue dog that they called Old Blue. And they said that dog was, excuse me, really special. And that I think a lot of that cold nose comes from there. And that's strange because Van was from up north, you know, and that dog, that blue dog, came from further up north, up in Wyoming or Montana or something like that. Let's see, Rowdy Houndsman. The last Houndsman interview with Cleve Dwyer from North Nevada. That was, yes, it was. Cleve's a good guy. I talked to him often. Matter of fact, the video or the podcast prior to this last one that Cleve had done with them, I called him up right after that because I forget what. Oh, because if you're a lion hunter, this will be interesting to you. I had always heard from an old time lion hunter that said, you know, you'd have to hear Jim Farmer say it because he says it with a really good accent. Said, you got to understand this, Jimmy. The closer you get to that lion, the harder he is to trail. And I always heard that, and I thought, well, that might be possible. And then when Cleve was talking about it, Cleve was talking about right before those lions bed down, they're, you know, bedding down up in a rock bluff or in a good place they like to bed down, that they don't leave a lot of scent before they bed down. And a lot of the old timers always claimed that the lions can turn their scent off. And I've heard a lot of different theories about that, how that works. You know, I think it's physically impossible for them to turn their scent off, but they can sure change it by the way they move or by what they're doing. And I believe that when they're sneaking around, they don't leave as much scent. Now, there's another guy that hunts a lot of lions and has hunted a lot of lions in the past, and he said that when they're moving out, they don't leave a lot of scent. So I don't know. I just know that there's times when you're trailing and you don't even know what happens, and they can't hardly trail that lion, even though you're not very far behind the lion. But Cleve's good. They catch a lot of lions up there, and they work hard at it. Cleve's a good guy. Let's see. I've been listening to it. Thank you, Mark. Henry Mills. Just seeing a lion is pretty special to see coming from. Yeah, I mean, in any time, even for us, you know, because what a lot of people don't understand is these guys who catch a lot of lions is how hard they work at it to catch a lion. I mean, they're putting on lots of miles, dragging roads, running cameras, you know, or if they're in the snow, driving miles of road to cut a track. And then it's always I don't know how you'd say it. It's real fascinating when you see, you know, 100-pound cat. I mean, you think that thing's been walking around out here, and you never see it without dogs. I mean, people have lived in good lion country all their lives and never seen a lion hardly. But you see that big old cat, and you think he's been sneaking around out there killing stuff. It's fascinating. Okay, John. He's probably gone now. That's a good question. I'm thinking it's too long, so I'll shorten it. What is the length of cold trail that ends with a jumped lion? 4 hours. 4 hours old is what everybody says. I don't know. I cold trailed that last time I caught last year. I trailed him all. Now, how far behind him? I don't know. I don't know how far behind him I was, but I trailed him all day the day before. I made that video. It's the name of the video is Some Think It's Easy. I'll put a link to it right here. If I can find it. I can't find it. Let me see here. Anyway, I trailed that lion all day the day before. Never seen a track. I never seen the lion track. I trailed him all day the day before. But I kind of knew by the way the dogs were trailing that it was a tom, or I thought, you know. Anyway, so I camped out that night. The next day, I split the country. And when I split the country, I hit his track, trailed down. He'd killed a cow elk. I don't know. He might have been on that elk at that time. He might have been still right there. He might have been bedded down and under a tree right close to there. But then we ran him and caught him out on a bluff. But from what I understand, all the guys who run the cameras and everybody says the same thing. Let me show this again. Is 4 hours. So that's kind of eye-opening. Have any videos on your coursing dogs we haven't seen? No, I had some, and they were on some old hard drives. This is, you know, prior to YouTube, and I had videoed some, and no, I don't. I got some pictures and stuff that I share. Send me your email. I can send you some pictures if I can gather them all up. She won't even hardly come in the room with me. Okay, Mark Webb. I think Otis ended up with Pete and still has some dogs from that. Oh, the Pete and repeat, Mark. Those yeah, they came from Joel Garnett, or I think Joel owned them at one time, and Joel traded dogs with Van Johnson up there. Let's see. Hope you don't mind me bothering you, but have you ever done any ranch work? Yeah. If so, what is your funniest story about it? uh yeah, I've done yeah, when I was a kid, that's how we made our money. I was raised on a quarter horse ranch, and we raised and competed on quarter horses. My dad was right. He still trades horses. My dad's 87 years old. And matter of fact, I interviewed him. I got an interview. I haven't published it or anything. I haven't edited it. But yeah, well, I mean, from the time I was a little bitty guy, I showed horses and I broke colts out there at the ranch and broke colts for the guy who owned Ford dealerships in New Mexico, most of them. And then we worked on, I always had access to good horses. So we worked on some ranches and we would help gather and ship. And I worked for public service, which is the public service owned a big ranch up in northern New Mexico between Cuba and Bloomfield. And we went up there. I remember I thought we were rich, and we went up there and we had a little camper that they gave us to stay in, and then they moved us to a shipping container. There was nothing in it. It was just a shipping container. What happened was all the big shots from town were coming out. And I mean, and this was a big deal. We'd been gathering and branding for 5-6 days. And then we'd be up at 4 o'clock in the morning, go into the ranch house, and they would feed us breakfast. And then we would load up in some, trailers, and they'd drive us out to whatever part of the ranch they were gathering, whatever pasture. And they would, we'd separate, and they'd say, oh, drive over, ride over 2 canyons, and there should be some cows, down there, in the bottom of that canyon, and just start pushing them down. And and then you'd push out of these hills into these canyons, and you could look, and I'd see Ronald, a buddy of mine, he'd have a little group of cows coming down. There'd be some gathering pens, and we did everything the old fashioned way. We roped them and drug them to the fire, and it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. It's real good work. And I was just a big old kid, and I calf roped when I was a kid and team roped a little bit, but I mean, I was pretty handy with a rope, but they never would let me rope because I was a big old stout kid. I always had to flank. And so they'd bring those calves and we'd flank, and never will forget the old man running. Always the old man would run the irons. The women would run the vaccinations, and then the old man would run the irons. And they had, I forget what their brand was, but it was on a right shoulder. And so, you'd be holding you be on that calf's neck and holding that front leg like that. You know how you hold them. And here come that old man with a hot iron, and your legs are spread out, and your privates are right there close, and that iron would be going back and forth real. He was always kind of wobbly, and you were kind of scared, man. I hope he hits the calf and not me. But he always hit the calf. I think a lot of that wobbliness was just him kind of getting tickled at us. And then, but then they, on that ranch, they kicked us out of the camper trailer, put us in the shipping container. And I mean, they built a big old tent out there. I mean, a huge tent. And then they had these stock tanks, these big stock tanks, and they had a helicopter come in and bring ice in. And they would fill these stock tanks with ice. And then they brought in beer and drinks and everything like that, because all the big shots were coming in the last day. And and they had a big dance, and they had lots and lots of beer. And we were just, I mean, I was probably 18 years old, something like that. But and then trying to remember, it's a long time ago, almost 60. But we gathered what they called the horse pasture. They had a few cows there, and they had the horse pasture, and we gathered that horse pasture and brought them in because all the people kind of wanted to help. And there were some pretty fancy ladies there, let me tell you. And they were all sitting on this fence, this wood fence with a top rail on it. And they were, and I forget who it was. They roped and drug a calf to us, and they came over, and he had little nub horns, and they dehorned him, and they got a bleeder and squirting that blood, squirting up and hit those ladies. It was kind of comical. And they told us when we went off, they had some dude horses they brought in from Farmington. They had like, I don't know, 10 or 12 head of dude horses they brought in for these public service businessmen to ride. And I remember we had a big meeting that morning before we left, said, let them, get behind the cattle, let them push them, but don't get in their way, and don't let them get hurt. Stay out of their way, but don't let them get hurt. But there's only like, 35, 40 head in that horse pasture. So it wasn't a big deal. And of course, by the end of the deal, they had a guy there that was our boss, and he was kind of a smart aleck. And of course, him and I didn't agree there at the end. So we'll just leave it at that. Norman Keys, better. Did my question come up? Let's see. I might have missed it. I got into a big old story. Okay, that was the last one. Faceman said, do you ever do any ranch work? Yes, I've done ranch work. I was raised on a quarter horse ranch, branded, roped, gathered. I think Otis ended up with Pete. Okay, there we go. Okay, I agree. It's physically impossible. I think they don't have much scent because they're up on the toes and less of their foot. Are you talking, Rowdy, are you talking about being able to trail an older track than a 4-hour-old track? Or I trail a lot older tracks than a 4-hour-old track. I know I trail them. Catching them is a different story. What is the best way to prepare lion meat? Never had it, but heard it was good. I've ate it as jerky, and they fed it to us. This was years ago. And yeah, it was good, and it's real good. And I plan on, if I catch a big old Tom and I decide to shoot him, I am going to eat him too. Warner was also interviewed by Modern Cowboy Podcast. That's probably it. Labor Gang. Warner was also interviewed by the Modern Cowboy Podcast. Maybe that was it. Still never found mine. What are you talking about? Better did my question come? I didn't see it, Norman. Maybe this thing's screwing up. Track is 4 hours old, or you trail for 4 hours. I've trailed now. I've had guys call me BS on this, but this is the absolute truth. And this was in these desert hills where the highest peak there is probably a little over 6,000 feet. So you're talking about 4,000 to 5,000 foot elevation in Chihuahuan Desert. I trailed through a camera that I had, a 36-hour-old track, and I trailed from 9 o'clock in the morning until about 3:30 that afternoon. 36-hour-old track. Now, that being said, the conditions were really good. We had overcast for 3 days. We had stable temperatures where, you didn't have the freezing and thawing. It was probably around 48 degrees, 50 degrees for 2 days or 3 days. Really, really good conditions. So I think you can, and it's still my belief that in some of these areas where you're in one of these little protected ravines or canyons that's pretty deep and there's bedrock on the bottom and, some protection on the sides, and the sun doesn't get to beat on those canyons all day long, I think we trail a lot older track than most people would believe in those little canyons. But you can't, you might be able to trail a 36-hour-old track up that thing, but when he tops out and he crosses, it's like a flying, I call them flying lions. He grew wings and flew off. You can't trail him anymore. Oh, cool. Mark, I need to talk to Van. If you have my email, could you send me his contact information? I sure need to talk to him. I lost it. Yep. I think Blue Dog's talking about roping them, dragging them to the fire. Oh, thank you, Jason. Let's see. I was talking about when they go to sneak in, they get up on their toes, leaving less scent. That's right. I think there's, yeah. And one thing that I've noticed is you'll be trailing along, like say that lion's kind of side hilling, and there's a big old saddle up there in the top, and you know that lion's heading to top out through that saddle, and he's kind of side hilling right, sometimes like just like right below the ridge line they might go, or they might be on the ridge, but sometimes right below the ridge line, and you're trailing along, and then right before they top out over that saddle, man, that it just gets hard to trail. And I believe now, if I was hunting deer and I'm walking down through there, you know, carrying my gun and everything, and I'm about to top out over a hill, man, I'll go to sneaking too, kind of get low and get to sneaking, because I don't want to just pop out. There might be a big old buck right on the other side of that saddle, and I don't want to go over the top and booger him, you know, so I go to sneaking. And I'm sure a lion, you know, if he's hunting, maybe that's what he's doing too. He gets to the top and he, like you said, gets up on his toes and just barely starts moving to pop over that hill. Don't leave much scent. I think when you get to a point like that and you have one of those flying lions that you can't move the track, or you whatever, you just need to pick those dogs up, or I say pick them up. You need to, hey, let's go. Look for him and make a big old circle, you know. And they say that some of those really good lion hunters, they said like Orville Fletcher was probably one of the best. And Mike Bency, you know, he learned from him, so he's probably as good as they come now. They think like a lion, and they can look out ahead of the country, and they say, well, that lion's heading that direction, or that lion's going to go through that saddle, or that lion's going to, you know, go up that ravine or whatever. So they kind of know. They said Orville he thought like a lion. He knew where they were going, and that makes a big difference, because when you have one of those old long tracks, you have a lot of loses, it seems like. Lost or taken 2 dogs in Unit 27 around San Francisco River area around Clifton. Red tick female and blue tick male. Yeah, that's Norman. There was some posts I thought on Facebook. I thought I shared them with you about some dogs found, but you said they weren't yours. I'll get you his information. I've enjoyed live stream. I've got to run. Y'all have a good one. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for stopping by. And we've been on here a long time. $39 guys in here though. You'll probably find them during hunting season, Norman. You'll probably recognize a bark or something somewhere and be able to drive right to them, and some guy will have his collars on them. See, Norman lost his dogs. I'll post this. Let's see. Norman lost his dogs over on the Arizona, New Mexico line over there, San Francisco River area. It's a blue tick and a red tick. Let's see. Let me make sure I got it right. So anybody in the country over there see some strange dogs or different dogs or whatever, they're Norman Keys. Get a hold of me. I'll get them to him. Harry Mills, are you going off grid again? No, but I got a plan. I'm not going off grid, but I want to get a nice camper that'll slide in the back of my truck, a trailer that I can haul a couple mules and my hound dogs. And I want to travel around and hunt different country and make videos and share them. That's something I want to do, but I still have to make a living. So I'm still having to work, and it's hard to find the time to do everything. I'm sure every houndsman runs into the same trouble, you know, trying to figure out a way. And I don't really want to guide hunters or go full time into it like that, because it's just not something I like to do. I spend more time messing with the dogs than actually going out there and doing the things that it takes to catch a lion. You know, running roads and dragging roads and running cameras. I guess you guys can't run cameras in Arizona anymore, but let's see. Norman, please, anyone Arizona hunters, keep your eyes open. Here you go. Keep your eyes open. Thank you. That's what yeah. Let's see. Bushies, howling hounds. Has anyone ever had a pack of coyotes attack a dog while hunting? I haven't. I've heard those guys from some guys from back east talk about it, and I think they were just beagles, though. I don't know, but I've had them come out and bark. Just come out and maybe 50 yards from the dog from the hounds and bark. Especially during February, and yeah, but not attack them. I mean, not. I spend half of my time trying to keep my hounds from attacking coyotes. Any more questions? Let me see here. You guys see me looking off to the side here. What I have is I have a computer screen right here, and then I have another screen right here. And then if I do like this, I can share that other screen. And this is my YouTube channel. Or I can show this little thing right here. This is a poem my wife wrote me. There we go. Oh, thanks, Bushy. Bushy Howling Hounds. That's a heck of a name. See you later, Frank. Hey, stay in touch. We'll get something done soon. Thank you. I enjoy doing it. Sometimes I get where I'm not gonna. My wife pushes me and says, "Oh, you need to go live." So I do it. Just do what my wife says. I always enjoy doing it, but it's kind of getting set up because I'm not real good at getting set up. It's kind of hard for me. Oh, jeez. I don't know if I got enough beat buttons to interview Keith. He would be fun. I've got to hunt with Keith a couple times. We always plan on hunting more together. But we're both getting old, and he's getting grumpier and grumpier. Do you have a different setup for bobs and lions? No, I've caught a few bobcats, but usually they're just pop-ups and they're kind of accidents. We got quite a few bobcats in this country, but I have never known anyone that runs bobcats in this country. Down here, now up in the mountains, I mean, that's a different story, but most of the guys who hunt lions break their dogs off bobcats because of how much of a waste of time, excuse me, how much a waste of time a bobcat can be. And so they break their dogs off of them. And now that's here that, there's a big tradition of running bobcats down in South Texas, but they got bobcats down there, kind of like we have jackrabbits. They got a bunch of them, and they might say it's dry down there, but I still think, their conditions have to be better than what we have for running bobcats. And I don't know. I don't know. Come hunt with me in Nevada. I've got a few areas I hunt with a fair amount of lions. I want to. You need to send me an email, Rowdy, and when me and Cody head up that into that country, I'll get a hold of you, and maybe we can all get together. I tell you what'd be fun is if one of these years, if we get enough, if I get enough people close enough together that you could have like a rendezvous where we could all, like go to a camp out and spend a few days, sitting around the fire, telling stories, drinking coffee or whatever everybody drinks. And that'd be fun. One of these years, maybe I'll get 100,000 subscribers and there'll be like 50 people could show up to one or 100. Still 33 people. I'm not losing too many. 25 thumbs up. Like CAT. What did I misunderstand? Did I misunderstand something, Norman? CATHA. I don't get it. I've talked to several people who have bought hounds from Derringers over in Arizona. Some of the best lion hunters around. And they say those dogs won't even hardly bark at a bobcat.